Hello. Welcome to the Inspired to Resign Weekly Wisdom. It has been a little while since we've been with you all. So I took a little time off as I had knee replacement surgery and had a lot of events over the last couple months. And so we are back live with you all now, and so excited to be back here with a very special guest today, kicking us off as we're getting back into fall. Let me know where you guys are from, what you're listening in from. I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, and it's getting a little chilly, so I had to pull out my sweater today. But I just got back from PT this morning. So to give you a little update before we kick in, I am still recovering from knee replacement surgery, but every week, every month gets a little better, gets a little easier, now into like lifting weights and all of that. And so my PT has gone from, just trying to stretch to now we are doing lots of weights. And so for those of you who have been checking in on me, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. But we have a very special guest with us today. I am so excited that Elaine Hausman is here with us because Elaine has such a beautiful energy and so much experience that she brings with her. And we're going to be talking about how you perform on stage, how you perform in video, what is the difference, how you show up. So Elaine is a video performance coach who helps entrepreneurs and business professionals see themselves so that they can be themselves. I love that, Elaine.
Good.
And she has spent 18 years as a Juilliard trained professional actress, and with her unique lens and depth of experience brings you into focus and gives you the tools to make the most of the medium and become more credible, watchable, and compelling in videos. How many of you are doing videos? Just type in videos in the comments if you are doing videos. If you want to be doing videos and haven't yet, what's holding you back? What's holding you back from getting out there and actually doing it? Because these days you've got to be out there. You've got to be showing your face. You've got to be visible, right? And that's what we're going to be talking about today with Elaine. Elaine, tell us a little bit about how you got started in this.
Thank you, Tammy. After many years as an actress and then many years in marketing and sales, I was working with my mentor, and I actually happened to love accounting. And I was thinking maybe I'd have an accounting company because I'd left my last marketing job. And from time to time, she would ask me for help with video because of my history as an actress. And one day I was helping her, and this is a woman who does not want to be on camera. And I was helping her, and she said, Elaine, oh my God, that was so helpful. No, it isn't accounting. It isn't bookkeeping. You need to help entrepreneurs with video. People out there need your help. So it was born 3 years ago, and it was a merger of two past histories, two past chapters in my work, in my life.
Awesome. I love that. And I know we both have that accounting background
Yes,
in common. Yes, I always call myself the recovering CPA. And so, it's those transitions we make in our life that bring us to where we're meant to be in that next chapter for us. And so I know a lot of you watching are going through some of those transitions, going through that journey of figuring out what's next, or have just stepped into something new. And it's such an amazing place to be. And as you guys are looking at, how do you get out there in your business? How do you get out there and show your message to the world? That's what Elaine and I want to talk to you about today. So first, Elaine, tell us the difference between speaking on the stage and speaking in video.
Wonderful, because there really is a difference, and we may even know it. But sometimes when we say things out loud, it produces awareness, and awareness is control, and we're looking for control. When we speak on a stage, we send our energy. We're expansive because we're trying to reach everyone in that audience, from the first row to the back row, and maybe we've got a balcony. And there's something very much like an embrace to our energy. And then we get inside here, and this is a small stage. And the dynamic is not the same. We're not sending our energy in here. In here, we have the luxury of upfront, up close, and personal. And we have the luxury of using our energy to draw our audience to us, to bring them closer, to be personal with them. So that really is that difference. And again, we may know it, but saying it out loud, putting it into words, just helps that awareness that much more to give us the control to make that shift.
Absolutely. And I love that you talk about the energy. And, I love, being in the right energy and seeing the right energy, right? Because how you show up, right? Just because you're on video doesn't mean that you don't need to show up in the right energy. You don't have your background says a lot about your energy. And Elaine and I were talking about my pillows earlier.
I love the pillows.
Yeah. So those of you who didn't notice, I switched on my pillows and she's like, did you switch your pillows? And these are pillows that I got from one of my clients, and she is a photographer, and this is her photography. And I love the fact that I can show that in my background, and it brings a different energy to me being on video. But how you show up, how you present yourself, the energy that you're in, as well as your surroundings, makes a big difference, right? How many of you have gotten to a meeting and the speaker gets up on the virtual stage here, right? And behind them is like this complete mess and disaster and piles of books, right, Elaine? Does that drive you insane?
Yes, I've seen it too.
Yes. And, you just want to, all your eye does is go to all of these different things, and it distracts from the energy of the presenter, right?
What's so wonderful, Tammy, in your setting, because everything in here speaks. Beyond our words, there's everything unspoken that's just as loud and clear. And there's something so wonderful about what you've created, because there's balance and there's kind of a uniformity, and then it sets you forward. It's really beautiful. And I know that I use something behind me is my kitchen, and I am not a cooking coach. You don't want me in there. And so I have a green screen, and I'm using a painting that I've put there. And it's for me, this is a setting for me where it's very quiet. I want quiet when I work so that we can be very focused. So that, that's my way in, and yours is just beautiful and so right for you. So everything speaks.
It does, yes. And it's funny you said, the first thing I thought of when I saw your background is I'm like, it's peace and calm. Like that's what I thought of. It's that it just brings, peace. It brings calmness, and you have a very calm way about you. And
as do you.
Thank you. And so I know one of the things, and I've been working on some speaker reels, so I'm excited to talk about this. So, and I was sharing with you, I spoke on an actual stage in person a couple of weeks ago, and was taking some video reels to do some on-stage speaker reel. And just last week, I was doing a virtual speaker reel recording. And so I want to hear your take on this. What is the difference between when you're doing the on-stage speaker reel versus when you're doing the virtual stage speaker reel?
This is a favorite question, and you've put it so beautifully, so thank you. When we are speaking on a stage and being recorded at the same time, we're straddling two worlds. We're in the world of the stage, and at the same time, the world of the camera. And knowing what is optimal in both can make all the difference and make a speaker's reel really come alive. And what happens is the first thing I will say is a speaker's reel is not a documentary. The camera is not a fly on the wall. The camera is your strategic partner. you work in tandem with it. The very nature of recognizing that will already create a shift in your reel that will become more alive. You're sort of in a parallel universe. When you're on a stage, maybe you've made a very profound comment and you take that pause. You want it to resonate and land, and you and your audience collectively get on the same page together in that moment. It's usually, so beautiful and rewarding.
Yes.
And at the same time, as rewarding as that is for your audience, the camera is loving it because the camera loves stillness. It loves silence because it just gets to drink you in and capture you in those moments. It's just transcribing and translating that moment into its medium to have for later. So it's a really wonderful thing to know what works, to know that you can also be vain. You can decide where you want that camera. Is it at an angle? And if it is it your best side? This side is not so good. It doesn't speak for me as well. I want this side. And we're allowed to be vain if we have that opportunity, or maybe it's straight on. But knowing those things does make a difference. And then I also want to say, you want to be great for your audience. You want to be memorable. But guess what? After they leave, memory lasts for so long, as indelible as you may be, but the camera's never going to forget you. And if you've paid your dues to the camera and really given it what it wants and needs, then you've got it for a lifetime. And it's right there, remembering all of those moments that you really shared with it.
So beautifully said. And I could just listen to you forever.
Well, I feel she has the most gorgeous voice. I said it the minute we got on this morning. So there's a little mutual admiration.
I love it. And, I love what you were saying, because I'm thinking back about being on the stage with a couple hundred people in the audience a couple of weeks ago. And it was, thinking about those moments of silence, right? Waiting for the reaction of the audience, putting in some of those, moments of thought, right? Yes. Where they're getting to react and having that energy come back to you, or, the side joke and waiting for the reaction. Did it land with them right? How did that feel? And there's many different ways to kind of control that audience. And I was having a conversation.
Please, no, I love what you were saying. And I want you to know, awareness of the camera is not a self-conscious act. Once again, it's your partner. You're in it together. And it's kind of, it's empowering to feel witnessed. You certainly are by your audience, but it's wonderful to feel witnessed by that camera too, that is your cohort in this whole experience. But I don't know if that kind of took us off in another direction, but I thought it kind of segued in there with what you were saying.
Yeah, just so beautifully said. And it's just that magical moment. I think, knowing that it's not about, you're not being vain, you're kind of setting yourself up to look professional, to be professional, to do the things that you need to do in front of a camera and in front of an audience to look appropriate, right? And so how do we take what we've learned from being on the stage and apply that to being on video? And what do we need to shift? What do we need to change?
Not only do we energetically work in here differently, like we spoke about before, where we have the opportunity to be personal. I was watching a gentleman present the other day at an event. He was so loud, and it wasn't just his microphone or the sound on my computer. he was projecting, and I wanted to look behind me and I said, who are you playing to? I'm right here. And it's so interesting that within that loudness and within this kind of exaggerated persona he was creating and not really understanding, modulating, which is a luxury we get in here, I missed everything he said. All I remembered was you're loud and you're filling the space. I can't get in there with you. And there really is something about stillness. And it doesn't mean that we don't have animation. It doesn't mean that we aren't enlivened in here, but there is something very compelling to some stillness, something that's slightly more minimal. And I will also add, when we first get into video, especially with people you may be working with who are choosing a new career path and really making that new transition, and all of a sudden realizing, I have no choice. I've got to use video. I have to be more public. And there's a little bit of, when you get in here, where do you land? Where do I not just land in terms of my frame to feel like I've got it in a good position so I can actually energetically feel I'm framed, I've landed, and feel some authority and claim their space in here. But there's also a little bit of, how do I feel like myself in here? Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, for instance, someone would come to me very nervous, and she was starting to be on Instagram and really wanted to be an Instagram star. I said, well, let's take care of the star later, but can we just start with, how you land in here? And she said, every time I start, I am so nervous. And I knew that she had two gorgeous little boys, and some of the videos she did included them, and they were witty and wonderful, and she had such a great point of view. And I said, what if you said to yourself every time you started, this is for my boys? And I saw her shoulders drop. And I don't know if she used it or not, but she felt better and knew that in finding something very personal for yourself, no one is going to know if the whole time you're in here talking to your audience, that you're talking to your poodle, because every time your poodle listens to every word you said and just stands there listening because mom is so wonderful. No one's going to know what it is that makes you feel like you've landed in here, where you feel comfortable. And it can be a thought, a memory, a feeling. It isn't necessarily the avatar described with every piece of clothing they're wearing and exactly what they do for a living. That may be very important, but it isn't necessarily a visceral experience. And you want something that feeds you in that more personal way. And whatever that is, it can, if I know a woman, and I'm almost done because I've been talking a long time. I know a woman who's very spiritual, gorgeous work. She was nervous and couldn't find her way in here. And I said, it's so simple for you. Find your mantra. What is the mantra that starts you off in here? And I'll never forget when she got back to me and she found it, and she was so excited. And I'm telling you, the difference in her videos, it's astounding. She is so good, so grounded, knows who she is, and knows where she starts every time. Thank you for all that time, Tammy.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my goodness, so much good information. And I love how you put it in the sense of, you've got to know why you're doing it. You got to know what this is about. I think too many people think, I've just got to do video, and then they feel all this pressure to go do the video, and they forget why they're doing it. They forget what it's about for them. Right?
We have to have a reason, because no one needs to do it if they don't have a reason. Mm-hmm. And there's got to be a reason. And believe me, I'm the first to say, I believe there are very successful people in the world not doing video, but the nature of their work can lend itself to not doing video. But so many as entrepreneurs or experts or speakers or whatever, it's a necessity.
Absolutely. It is a necessity. And I think, one of the things I tell some of my clients is when you're first starting out, part of your reason for doing video is just getting comfortable on video. Like, forget about everything else. Just learn to get comfortable, learn to say what you need to say, learn to get your voice out. And then things will start to get easier. Like getting past all of that anxiety, getting past all of the, like, oh my goodness, I have to go do this, and just doing it, because you become more natural. And that's when people start to see who you truly are. And it shows up why you're truly there.
Beautiful.
And yeah.
You're mentioning something very interesting. And oftentimes I will say, get in the Zoom room and just play.
Mm,
You
yes.
record yourself, watch yourself, get used to what's going on in here. And then, later get used to it first. And for people who are really uncomfortable, I'll say, interview, have a conversation, don't go it alone. One of the best ways to find yourself is in conversation. And you
Mhm.
can really get past some of that worry or nervousness because you're not alone. You've got a co-pilot.
Yes.
But there's certainly practicing, alone in your Zoom room and getting comfortable and finding out what you want to say. And
Absolutely.
that's its own journey.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's one of the reasons why I started doing, these series of Facebook Lives. I started this, 2 years ago.
Wow.
And it was just to get comfortable, just to be able to really get clear on my voice, really get an understanding of what my message was. And now I realize, like, as I've been off of them for a couple months and getting on here with you today, I'm like so excited to be back. Like, it's fun for me now. It's exciting. I love having these conversations. And so if you are someone that's kind of new to it, I completely agree with what Elaine is saying. I mean, start off with the interview style, start off with getting on people's podcasts, getting on people's shows where it's an easier conversation. And I know a lot of people will swap, right? Like, you come on my show, I'll come on your show, because then you're creating that relationship. You have better conversations. You're getting yourself out there. You're getting in front of your audience and other people's audiences, which is always beneficial. And so, apologize. Phone starts ringing in the
Real
middle.
life.
So, yes. And so you want to just start. You just need to get out there and get started. And then the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And one of the things that, I do a lot of speaking, and I love getting on other people's stages. Is one of the things that my best ways of bringing in new clients, getting in front of new audiences. And something I always encourage people to do, because you have that opportunity to touch people, to be able to connect with them so much faster when they can see you, when they can hear you speak. And, there's so many ways to get clients and things out there, but I think speaking and video and, having people hear your message directly, to me, is one of the highest and best ways to grow your business, to scale your business, to get more people, because that connection is immediate. That connection makes a difference. I've spoken on stage and had people come up to me afterwards and they're just like, oh my goodness, I just knew I needed to work with you, because as soon as you started speaking, there was this connection where I could have sent them 100 emails and they may not have ever had that same connection, right? So a great way to get out there. And Elaine, thank you so much for all this information. It's been amazing.
Thank you, Tammy, so much. I've loved being in conversation with you.
Yes, absolutely. Now, I know you also have a very special gift to give our audience as well. So tell us what that is.
Um, Sometimes the bells and whistles of video really get in our way when we're just starting out. It's like, where do I begin? Lighting, sound, and how do I make it as easy for myself as possible? And I want to give you the back entrance to my gear page on my website. You don't have to sign up. Don't worry. I'm not taking your email address. I want to give you the gift. It's elainehausman.com/gear. And you're going to see all the gear I recommend and use. And I talk a lot about different things. And it's a way to look around there and see, this gets me started. Do I want to look around elsewhere? It's kind of a point of reference. And it can be very helpful to just have someone who's kind of curated a list that's already there. And believe me, I believe in well-priced products. We don't need expensive bells and whistles. We need the best bells and whistles for the money to get us through this, because we want to use video, not only to grow our business, but to get back to what we really do for a living. So
Yes.
But take a look at that, elainehausman.com/gear.
Awesome. That is so incredible, because I know it's one of the questions everybody has, like, what should I be using? What mic do I use? What flights do I use? What do I need? And all of those questions that come up. So you guys got to go take a look at her website. Check this out. If you have any questions about what do you need to be using in video? What gear do you need? How do you get set up? Because you don't have to have everything either, just to be clear. You got to start with something, and then you can continue to add and expand as you continue to grow, but get some of the basics to get you started, because having a good webcam, having a good, mic, having some good lights can make all the difference in how you're showing up and your energy around you. So awesome. Thank you so much, Elaine, for being here with us. I've loved talking to you today.
I feel the same way. I thank you so much, Tammy. Good to be with you.
Yes. And for those of you watching, my challenge for you today is to go out and do a video within the next 24 hours. So whether you are, a novice at doing videos or you're brand new, I don't care. Get out and do some form of video. It can be a Facebook Live. It can be in YouTube. It can be on LinkedIn, but get out, share part of your message, give people that energy that's within you, and do it for the right reasons. Do it because this is what you're meant to do, to share your message, to share something that people don't know about you. People haven't heard from you, something new. And I can't wait to see it. Tag me in it so that I can see your video as well. Awesome. You guys have an amazing day, and we will see you next time on Inspired to Resign.